We've had some storylines from Jets OTAs. Let's do the biggest takeaways so far. Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I'll be talking about OTAs and the biggest storylines from that. Before we get started today, just wanted to mention you can follow on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out the Just Jets podcast. You guys know the drill. New episodes come out every single Monday, and new episode of Exit 16 West on Patreon just came out today. I'm talking with Will Parkinson. We're talking Beefy Zach. We're talking more OTAs in depth, and it's a whole lot of fun, so make sure to check that out too. Now, the first things first is you shouldn't look too much into it. Like, I don't want to draw any kind of massive conclusion, but there are some things that you could tell from OTAs or just some storylines that are worthwhile to talk about. So I wanted to do kind of all of it in just one video and kind of just go. And the first is that Sauce Gardner definitely looks the part. Now, by looks the part, I'm not saying he's going to be an all-pro in his rookie year or win rookie of the year or any kind of crazy expectation from just a couple of OTA practices and shorts. But what I mean by looks the part is he looks visibly different than the Jets' other corners. He's 6'3". He has that elite size. He's made some plays on the ball, not necessarily interceptions, but knocking some, passes away and just being very active and being very involved. And as we know, he is going to be a starter on this team and probably a very good starter. But it's always like when you get to these practices or just OTAs in general, you just kind of want to see, like, do they look the part? And so far, yeah, Sauce Gardner absolutely looks the part. Seeing him out there with some shoulder pads on, a helmet. Love that he's in number 1, by the way. I think that looks awesome. It's a really cool looking jersey. Absolutely love to see that. So I am super excited to see him in the regular season, but it was kind of cool to see him, make some plays on guys like Elijah Moore, who's going to be a good receiver. And obviously Garrett Wilson's going to be a good receiver at this level too. So the iron sharpens iron, a very generic and probably overused quote, but it's appropriate in this instance. And Sauce Gardner definitely looks the part. Speaking of looking the part, Zach Wilson looking #thick with 3 C's. He's coming in at 221 pounds, which is 13 pounds more than what he played at last year. He played at 208, and that is much better. He wants to get to 218, which I think he's going to play around 218, which would be a overall 10-pound increase from last year. And it's clearly muscle. Like, he's putting on muscle. It's not like he's eating 10 pounds of ice cream and it's fat. It's he looks, again, it looks the part. But the reason why it matters is because last year he looked not small in like height wise, but he looked a little on the skinnier side, and he could still make athletic plays at that size. But when you get to the NFL or when you get to the next level, it's important. It's super important to take care of your body. And one of those things is putting on more muscle. And Zach looks the part. And I don't want to shameless plug again, but in my conversation with Will Parkinson, I asked him because, one, he's someone who also is very physically fit and he's into that kind of stuff. It's like, how much does that really matter? And it does a lot. Taking care of your body is such a huge thing at the NFL level. And it's cool to see how serious he was about it. This offseason, I was like, honestly, I was really impressed with Zach Wilson with, 1, putting on the extra weight, 2, working with his teammates, putting in that extra effort. We know he's going to tight end U. I'm super excited to see what he does this year, and I hope it translates to on the field because I feel like he's doing everything else right now. A couple more things on Zach Wilson because, that's going to kind of be the biggest storylines from this year, having a year 2 quarterback. Supposedly leadership is stepping up according to AVT. More on AVT later also. He's kind of louder in the huddle. He has a different moxie to him in year 2, which is expected. Like, I don't know, when you come in as a rookie, you're not like, that's not what you're going to be like your entire career. Some guys come in and are ready to like be a drill sergeant right away. And not that Zach is necessarily that, but I don't know, he's a leader. He was given a captaincy last year Clearly is someone who is well respected in that locker room, but it's good to see him take the next step there. And it's nice to see another young player who was drafted last year, who's a rookie last year, like see how obvious that is. So obviously you want your quarterback to be a leader. You want him to be hungry. So I'm super excited to see that come on the field as well. The last thing on Wilson is the processing. It looked like he was every single tweet I read was like the processing is quicker. He's seeing things quicker, which that is expected. And that, obviously that's a good thing because last year at times Zach Wilson held onto the ball for far too long. That's an issue. You can't do that. But that's something that you can improve on. And the more reps you get and the more live bullets you see, the faster you're going to be able to process things, which he got a little bit better in the second half of the year at that. And now in year 2, that has to drastically improve. And at least in OTAs against his own team, it looks like that right now. And sure, maybe in year 2, there's going to be some ups and downs with it. Some weeks will look a little bit better than others, but I think that's a great sign that the processing speed is definitely quicker, which is, if you're able to notice that in practice, then it's probably a drastic difference. Speaking of AVT, just a second ago, he spoke about moving to the right side. He's not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. You shouldn't be. He did it in college. He's moved positions a ton of times and been successful every step of the way. He could play tackle. He could play guard. He could play on the left. He could play on the right. And he was excited to get a quality guy like Laken Tomlinson in here. Someone who made a Pro Bowl last year. This is a really good offensive lineman. And if he's going to come in and play on the left side and you move Elijah Vera Tucker over, so be it. And you know what? More likely than not, I guess I should say, on the right side, you're going to also see Mekhi Becton, who we'll talk about in a second. So you're still getting the Becton AVT 1-2 punch. It's just on the right side instead of the left, which some people look at that as a failure. I don't. I think that's weird to do that. If it works and it fits, then it's a good thing. And those two in the run blocking is going to be tremendous. I can't wait to see those two on the run blocking. Breece Hall and Michael Carter are going to have a field day running to the right side. Laken Tomlinson, as we know, is a really good run blocker also. So that's going to be really cool to see on the field in actual games. But you shouldn't worry about AVT moving over sides. I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. And finally, we talked about him just a second ago. Mekhi Becton is absent from OTAs. Should you panic? No. He just had a kid. He literally, like days ago, just had a kid. It's voluntary. Now, if we get to June and he's not there for minicamp, that is a different conversation. Then at that point, you could say, you got to be there. But for voluntary workouts when your girlfriend is almost 9 months pregnant and then just has a kid, it's a little bit different. He's still working out with Duke down in Texas, which is a great sign. Love that. He's in the gym every day. He looks, anytime I see a video of him, he looks to be in shape. And now it's when June rolls around, come in and prove it. I think he can. I think he's a talented guy, and I wouldn't give up on him after a lost second year. It was a lost second year, but it's different. He had too much talent as a rookie to just give up on it and say, yeah, no, he's not the guy. You know, he's an M&M away from 500 pounds or whatever. It's all that was silly. So those are my biggest takeaways from OTAs right now. Let me know down in the comments below what your biggest takeaways are so far. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe here if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.